In every story about the Middle East, you hear about palaces, gold, and royalty. But few people know the quiet Filipino heroes who work behind those palace walls. This is the story of one of them, a Filipino teacher named Samuel. A soft-spoken man from Cavite whose greatest contribution to the world would happen not inside a classroom, but inside a royal clinic in Riyadh, where he helped a Saudi prince speak again after trauma that nearly destroyed an entire kingdom's hope. Samuel never thought of himself as remarkable. He was 42, a public school teacher for nearly 2 decades, and he lived a simple life. But when his wife was diagnosed with a heart condition that required surgery, he knew he had to find work abroad. A friend encouraged him to try his luck in Saudi Arabia, saying teachers were occasionally hired for private tutoring in royal households. Samuel laughed at the idea of him working with royals. Impossible. He didn't even own a suit. But life has a way of placing ordinary people into extraordinary stories. 2 months later, he received a message from an agency saying a family in Riyadh needed an English tutor capable of teaching children with learning difficulties. They liked the calm, patient energy in his interview. They offered him a salary he never imagined in his whole life. He took it, not knowing that the family was not just any family, but a royal one. He arrived in Riyadh expecting to tutor children. Instead, he was escorted into a private section of a royal medical facility. The guards were polite but extremely strict, and the silence inside was heavy, like a place where hope had been struggling for a long time. A doctor approached him and spoke softly, "Mr. De La Cruz, thank you for coming. Your assignment is not an ordinary student. It is His Highness Prince Khalid." Samuel froze. A prince? Why would a prince need an English tutor inside a medical wing? The doctor continued, "A few months ago, the prince survived a traumatic incident. Since then, he has refused to speak to anyone, doctors, therapists, even his family. He understands everything perfectly, but will not say a word." Samuel's throat tightened. He had never dealt with a case like that. He was a simple Filipino teacher, not a psychologist, not a trauma expert. He opened his mouth to decline, but the doctor raised a hand gently. "We already know who you are," the doctor said. "The royal family handpicked you. They wanted someone gentle, patient, and unthreatening, someone who brings a sense of warmth. They said Filipinos have that. Your job is not to cure him. Your job is simply to talk to him." Samuel felt his heart pounding. He wasn't sure he could help a royal prince speak again. But he remembered his wife's medical bills and the promise he made to himself that he would do anything to save her. So he nodded. The prince's room was large but quiet. Sunlight entered through tall windows covered with white curtains. The young prince, barely 17, sat near the window with a book open but unread. His eyes were dim, unfocused, like he had wandered far away and couldn't find his way back. Samuel approached carefully. "Good morning, Your Highness," he said softly. No reaction. He tried again, switching to a friendlier tone. "You can call me Samuel or Sir Sam or just Sam. In the Philippines, even our neighbors' dogs know my name." Still nothing. Not even a blink. Samuel, unsure if he should sit or stand, finally took a seat a few feet away. He decided to do exactly what the doctor said talk. So he talked about normal things, his flight, how Riyadh's heat surprised him, how he once fainted during a flag ceremony in Cavite because the sun was too strong. He even laughed at himself, hoping it would break the ice. The prince did not move. After 30 minutes, Samuel said quietly, "I don't know what you're going through, Your Highness, but I know what it's like to be scared. And I know what it's like to feel alone." The prince's eyes flickered barely, but Samuel saw it. A spark, a tiny sign of life. Over the next weeks, Samuel visited daily. Sometimes he sang old Filipino love songs. Sometimes he read stories. Sometimes he spoke about his wife and how bravery does not always look like standing strong. It can also look like asking for help. One afternoon, as he was packing up his materials, he heard a soft sound, a whisper. He froze. The prince had spoken a single word. Why? It was barely audible, like a leaf brushing the ground. But it was a word. After months of silence, it was the first one. Samuel turned slowly, afraid that any sudden movement might scare the prince back into silence. Why? What, Your Highness? He asked gently. The prince did not speak again. But the door had opened. Something inside him had shifted. From that day, the healing continued slow, fragile, but real. The prince listened more closely. He watched Samuel with clearer eyes. He even followed simple instructions, though he never spoke another word for weeks. Then came the breakthrough. It was late evening. Samuel had stayed later than usual because the prince seemed unusually restless. He paced around the room, hands trembling. Samuel kept his tone soft and steady. "You don't have to talk," Samuel said. "You just need to breathe. You're safe here." The prince suddenly stopped. He looked at Samuel with a gaze full of fear and memories he couldn't escape. "They tried to kill me," he whispered. Samuel felt a chill run through his body. He had suspected some kind of attack caused the trauma, but hearing it from the prince himself made everything real. "Yes," Samuel said softly. "I know, but you survived. They shot my friend," the prince continued, tears forming. "He shielded me." I heard him scream. "I should have died." "Not him." The pain in his voice was raw, like a wound that never closed. Samuel walked closer, but slowly, giving the prince space. "You lived," Samuel said. "Maybe for a reason. Maybe because someone had to tell the truth. Maybe because someone has to carry his memory." The prince broke down. For the first time since the incident, he cried not in silence, but openly, with trembling shoulders and gasps for breath. Samuel didn't touch him. He simply stood beside him, letting the boy release everything he had been holding in. After that night, the prince's progress accelerated. He spoke more. He asked questions. He even began joking lightly, calling Samuel Teacher Sam in a teasing tone imitating Filipino students he had seen online. The royal family noticed the change immediately. The king himself, usually guarded and solemn, visited one day. He watched his son laugh for the first time in a year. Then he turned to Samuel, eyes heavy with emotion. "You saved my son," the king said. "Not the doctors. Not the specialists. You." Samuel bowed awkwardly, unsure how to respond. "I just talked, Your Majesty." "No," the king replied. "You did more." You reminded him that the world is still kind. News of the prince's recovery remained private, but within palace circles, the story spread quickly. A Filipino teacher had done what no therapist, no foreign specialist, no royal advisor could do. He reached the prince's heart. But the greatest moment came months later, when the prince attended a private family gathering. The hall was filled with members of the royal family. Samuel waited in the back, unsure why he had been invited. Then the prince approached the microphone. The room fell silent. He cleared his throat. "I am alive," he said, voice steady. "And I am learning to live again, not because of royalty, not because of power, but because of one teacher." Every eye turned to Samuel. The prince lifted his hand and pointed straight at him. "Mr. Samuel de la Cruz, he taught me how to speak again. But more than that, he taught me how to feel human again." The room erupted in applause. Some members of the royal family wiped tears discreetly. The king closed his eyes, overwhelmed. Samuel stood frozen, heart pounding. He had never imagined such a moment. He felt like every sacrifice, every hardship, every fear he carried, all of it led to this single moment of grace. After the event, the prince approached him and said something that Samuel would remember forever. "Teacher Sam," he said softly, "you saved me. How can I thank you?" Samuel smiled. "Just live, Your Highness. Live well. Live bravely. That's all the thanks I need." The prince embraced him, not as a royal, not as a patient, but as a grateful young man who had found his voice again. Months later, Samuel received permanent residency, a long-term teaching contract, and full medical coverage for his wife gifts the royal family insisted on giving. But Samuel never considered those the true reward. His reward was hearing the prince laugh again, hearing him speak without fear, seeing him reclaim a life that trauma had tried to steal. And at night, when Samuel lay in his simple bed inside the royal residence, he often thought, I'm just a Filipino teacher. Yet, God used me for something bigger. He realized that sometimes heroes are not soldiers, doctors, or kings. Sometimes heroes are ordinary teachers who simply show up with kindness, patience, and a heart big enough to heal wounds no medicine can reach. It became more than a job, more than a story. It became proof that Filipinos, no matter where they go, carry something powerful warmth that can mend even the most broken souls. And in the quiet corners of a Riyadh palace, a prince speaks again because of that simple, extraordinary truth.